Hey there peeps, so this is just kind of small experiment of mine. Instead of making one big WT, I decided to make like 9 smaller ones. And all the shows that I'm gonna talk about are pretty recent, and they all are mostly slices of life and comedies, maybe with a little bit of action. They all are really short and easily digestible, so like they're all just one season with 12 to 13 episodes. So the kind of shows that you can watch and enjoy in less than a weekend. Okay, let me just say that right. Oreshura is generic as fuck. It's probably more generic than Isekoi that at the very least had its locked pendant mystery. However, just because it's generic doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. Oreshura in many ways plays out like almost any other harem. We have a regular nice dude protagonist, his childhood friend, some diligent class representative, and a mysterious girl that forces boy into a relationship for some unknown reason. And naturally romantic hijinks ensue. In case of Oreshura, all those generic elements are pretty well done. The protagonist, while not particularly exceptional, is a pretty likable and not overly dense dude, and girls for the most part have legit reasons to like him. Girls themselves have great and often hilarious interactions with each other, and they're all really enjoyable and likable in their very own right. Especially the crazy, mysterious and JoJo references spewing Masato Natsukawa. Add to all that some really solid comedic moments, very colorful visuals, smooth animation, and more kisses than in all of the Kyoani shows combined, so more than 2, and you get yourself on a very simple and enjoyable harem. Servant Service, or Servant Service, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say X, was originally a manga created by same authors that made Working, and 2 series share all the similarities, namely a very colorful and likable cast, great comedy, and a very dynamic working setting. Unlike Working, Servant Service takes place in a public government office, and the personnel has to deal with much grumpier customers. The strongest point of the show is undeniably its cast, that features an adorable and clumsy Yamagami Lucy, name was abbreviated, lazy but very capable Yutaka Hasebe, stone-faced and cosplay-obsessed Megumi Chihaya, and many more unique and surprising individuals. Servant Service also has a surprisingly satisfying romance. 2 of them in fact, one of which will probably catch you by surprise. Okay, you see I'm using the word surprise a lot, but that's for a reason. There really are some very surprising elements to Servant Service, but not the kind of surprises that would make you go, holy shit, what a twist! But the kind that would make you go, haha, that was kinda unexpected, nice one. Maybe. Probably. At least that's how it went for me, okay? Overall, Servant Service is simply a very enjoyable and solid rom-com. The kind that make me wish that it had more popularity and seasons. Really, just give it a working treatment. Give it 2 more seasons and an hour-long finale, eh? Fun, fun and fun. The 3 words are used to describe Yozakura Quartet. It's a very simple, entertaining and easy to pick up action show that has very solid visuals, amazing soundtrack, smooth as butter animation, very innovative fight scenes, and a cast that is more colorful than Shaft on drugs. So basically Shaft. Speaking of cast, here's a short list of all kinds of characters that appear in Yozakura Quartet. Humans, demons, demi-demons, gods, nuns, nurses, vampires, mermaids, werewolves, zombies, necromancers, ogres, witches and catgirls. And they all really are characters, with great personalities, interesting backstories and hilarious interactions with one another. Add to that some very intriguing lore and super amusing and enigmatic villains, and you get yourself one hell of an action comedy show. So yeah, catgirls, especially that one catgirl. If you ever wonder where that one gif came from, here's the answer. Now get on it. Rekan is a genuinely kind show. There is no other way to describe it. Rekan's protagonist, Mommy Hibiki, has a peculiar power. From the day she was born, she could see ghosts and other supernatural entities. And I clearly remember being super skeptical after reading the premise. Oh, let me guess, it's gonna be about a girl who hates her powers, is shunned by her peers, but after some time people will learn to accept her and maybe she will even get a real friend. Well, I was kinda wrong. The whole hating on your powers and misunderstanding part never happened. You see, Amami loves her powers. She loves and cares about ghosts who were her friends since she was a child, and ghosts in return love and look out for Amami. And Amami manages to make friends immediately who simply accept her. That was the most surprising part. Amami's friends were just like, so you can see ghosts, huh? That's cool. You wanna hang out later? And that's what Rekan is all about. It's about people accepting one another and willing to help their friend, or willing to help someone they literally cannot even see. This theme of very genuine kindness and acceptance is the strongest point of Rekan. Its other strong points are very inventive and funny supernatural humor, and some incredibly touching and very well done moments between humans and ghosts. All in all, Rekan is a very underappreciated and underwatched slice of life, with an interesting premise, great protagonist, and lots of moments that will surely tug on your heartstrings. What if I were to tell you that the best action fighting show of 2015 was not Unlimited Blade Works or One Punch Man, but rather a weird little half CGI show about a bunch of chibi animal girls fighting each other? Yeah, you probably wouldn't believe me, which is why I should check out Etotama. Etotama is a crazy mix of comedy and action that sadly passed by a lot of people last year. Its most outstanding feature is the way it handles CGI. As there are two parts to Etotama. One is the usual drawn anime where all the interactions and comedic antics happen, and another is CG part where all the action takes place. And when I say that Etotama had better action than both UBW and OPM, I stand by my words. The CG action in Etotama is amazing. Not only it's very well animated with visual style that is very fitting with Etotama's drawn part, but the fights are also super inventive and incredibly well choreographed, in addition to being very dynamic. Characters, even when they are talking to each other or explaining some stuff, are never static. They constantly move around, they emote, and they hilariously invade each other's personal spaces. Not only that, but there's an incredible variety of action scenes. One episode is gonna be a straight up brawl, another is gonna be the most brutal game of rock, paper, scissors, then suddenly it's a Mario Kart race, and then we have a game of shogi? Etotama is the kind of show that keeps you constantly entertained with its superb action scenes and hilarious fourth wall breaking and meta comedy. So my only question is, Season 2 and Nendoroids when? Out of all the shows on this list, Seiyuu is the one that I'd like people to see the most, because it's a legitimately great and educational show. Seiyuu, to put it very bluntly, is Shuraba about voice acting. It follows the lives of three voice actresses who, despite the differences in their age and experience, still somehow manage to befriend each other. As the show goes on, we get to see them grow closer to one another and work together, thus teaching the viewer about their voice acting. Seiyuu is very character focused, and it goes really in depth into the whole voice acting business. It shows how they record voices for anime, TV programs, foreign movies, audiobooks and video games, and it shows just how brutal, unforgiving and, at times, ungrateful the job of a voice actor is. The show also shines in demonstrating all the various human and business perspectives, as it compares the way different agencies take care of their employees, or by showing just how huge the gap between a beginner and a popular voice actor is. Add to that an incredibly endearing and realistic cast, lots of genuinely human moments, very unusual and catchy ED, and a whole bunch of cameos by big-named voice actors like Hiroshi Kamiya, Yui Horie, Rie Kugimiya, and more, and you get one very educational, brutally honest, but surprisingly inspirational show. Are you tired of seeing all those typical goody-two-shoes protagonists? Are you fed up with all those nice guys who go out of their way to help someone else? Are you annoyed with hearing the same "I'll never forgive you for hurting my friends" bullshit? Do you want to see a comedy about a person so utterly unlikable, so despicable, so douchebaggy, that it would make Gilgamesh look like a Mother Teresa? Well, my friend with some weirdly specific requests, do I have a show for you? Sabagebu appears to be just a typical cute girls doing cute stuff kind of show, but now with a focus on survival games. However, as soon as the first episode starts, it becomes evident that it's not really the case. Our protagonist, Momaka, just tells the viewer outright that they're wasting their time using looking for a proper show about survival games. What follows is 20 minutes of pure craziness, with shooting, betrayals, poisoning, snarky narration, video game cosplay, bloody headshots, and Momaka being a complete and utter douchebag. Seriously, it's hard to convey in words just how horrible of a person Momaka really is. It has to be seen. Momaka's horrible personality is undeniably the show's strongest point, and is the source of many comedic moments. But the rest of the cast is also quite enjoyable and douchey in their very own unique way, and they all quite nicely complement Momaka. All of that results in quite an unusual and memorable black comedy, the likes of which I haven't really seen before. So you know Kinyuru Mosaic or Isoard the Rabbit? You know, pure and filtered moe slice of life about a bunch of girls doing nothing each day. Well, Hanayamata is what you get if you take a show like that and give it an overarching storyline with real progression and a set ending goal. And if you give it more colors. A fuckload of colors. Hanayamata follows a 14-year-old Naru, a completely unremarkable and normal girl who wants to be a little bit special but who lacks necessary will to try and pursue her dreams. That's until one night she encounters Hana, who shows Naru the magical dance of Yozakura. What follows is quite a heartwarming adventure as Hana and Naru are trying to establish their very own school club, show other people the beauty of Yozakura, and perform together on a festival. It's a very simple story that works really well with the usual cute girls doing cute stuff formula. There is a real progression as characters practice their dance moves and grow closer to one another. There is some human drama that doesn't feel out of place, And there is everything that makes shows like Niru Mosaic so appealing to a lot of people, namely very cute and likable cast and great comedic interactions. Couple all of that with some outstanding visuals, animation, choreography and color palette, and you have a show that is a bit more than just another cute moe slice of life. Jitsu wa Watashi wa, or actually I am, is hilarious. Along with Sabagebu, it's one of the most absurd comedies I've seen in a long time. The show's protagonist, Kurimine Asahi, is affectionately called a Leaky Basket because of his complete inability to lie or keep a secret. One day he decides to finally confess to Shirigami Yoko, a girl he likes, only to discover that she's a vampire. And thus starts Asahi's little story as he tries his best to keep Yoko secret. Actually, I Am is a typical rom-com, but with craziness and absurdity cranked up to 11. Sure, there are some very normal and heartwarming moments between Asahi and Yoko, but the majority of screen time is given to the crazy life of Asahi. The show fully utilizes its supernatural setting and characters to provide the viewer with some utterly hilarious moments. And considering that the cast includes a vampire, an alien, a werewolf and the devil, there's a lot of various shenanigans to be had. All in all, as I said before, Jitsu wa Watashi wa is simply very funny. Its cast is super colorful and likable, well, for the most part. The way it utilizes all the various supernatural and mythical entities is quite creative, and the visual style, while a bit weird, really grows on you and enhances the comedy. Especially all those crazy facial expressions. Hey there, thank you very much for watching, please feel free to like, subscribe or comment, and please leave any sort of feedback. As for video, I'm not sure if I'm gonna make more of this in the future, I probably will because it's quite an easy and enjoyable stuff to do. And don't worry, my WTO Master is still coming. So, I hope you have a good day.